Okay. First of all, I want to welcome everybody for coming tonight. This is going to be our last Zoom meeting of the June challenge. Next Monday is just a couple of days before the challenge is over. So I'm going to take a break from the Zoom meeting, give y'all a break. Plus, next week we don't get 25 points. This is the last week you can claim your 25 points for coming to the Zoom meeting. So we're just going to, call it that. But we'll have another one the first Monday in July.
Okay.
So anyway, we'll start going back in because I know they're going to give us 25 points. Because this is a way for you to contact your coach. Now, some people will call me and leave a message, but we've got 5 or 6 coaches on our team, and it doesn't matter. As long as they call a coach on the team and talk to them just to touch base with them, they can claim their points without cheating. Last week, we talked about setting goals, and we talked about the importance of writing it down. Now, Dixie and a lot of other people said, well, I write all my stuff down in my Fitbit, and we agreed that was really, really good, just as long as we're documenting our stuff. But today, I want to think about writing your goals down in a little bit different perspective. Hi, Debbie. I was hoping you'd make it tonight.
Hi.
As far as writing our goals down, I want to carry it forward just a little bit. Today in his webinar, Dr. Anderson focused on a statement that I'd like for us to ponder this evening. He said, and I quote, "Organize your life around what matters most." And one of the examples that they gave is he talked about gravel and sand and stones and boulders and stuff, and you put them in a jar. And the more I thought about that, I finally kind of figured out what he was talking about. But I'm curious. I want to ask you, what does that mean to you to organize your life around what matters most? And how does that affect our health? Who'd like to start off?
Food.
Okay. You're going to organize your life around food, which is what matters most to you. Okay. And how are you going to do that?
Because in the morning, I say what I'm going to do for the day, and I stick to it, and that's how I do it.
Okay. That's real good. That's good. You're
and that works for a while.
Yep.
What?
And that works for a while, and then it doesn't, and then it does, and then it doesn't, and then it does, and then it doesn't. So you just got to keep getting back on.
Yep, exactly. Hey, Jackie, what does that mean to you to organize your life around what matters most?
I think it means more than that. I think it means balance. I think it means to not only have your life, where you're healthy, but have loved ones. Like we just had our great granddaughter here, and every time I'm close to my family, it hits me how far away they are, and so thank goodness we've got these kind of meetings where we can keep in touch. And it means organizing where you have fun. I mean, a lot of us are retired on here, and we've got that time. We don't have to spend all of it working. Sorry, Joe. But and so you have to really think about how you want to spend that time and organize it. And that got me thinking, and I'm not sure I have the answer to that, Donna, but it made me think about it this morning when I
read that. Yeah. If what matters most to me is sitting in my chair, then I'm not going to really accomplish very many of my health goals, am I? What does that mean to you, Lynette? I know you've heard that before, organize your life around what matters most. What does that mean?
Yeah, I think it means that if you organize your life to what matters most to you, then if you're happy, you can make other people happy, and things will be calmer and less stressful, and you won't have surprises that upset your routine. You just satisfy yourself, and then everything should be okay.
Well, that kind of goes along with what you said earlier in June in one of our other Zoom meetings. You said something about your goal was going to be to do what you wanted to do. You're so busy focusing on helping everybody else in the organizations that you're in and the activities that you're in, and you work yourself to death for other people. And you got to remember the N word. And in our case, it's no. That's our N word, and it's we've got to learn as gifted, talented women. We've eventually got to learn how to use that N word, the no word. Megan's kind of hoarse tonight, so she's just going to listen. But Megan, if you feel like it, just go ahead and pipe in. But I'm not going to actually. Yeah, hold up the phone. Debbie, what does it mean to you organize your life around what matters most?
Um, I'm late on doing all my stuff, so I really caught the tail end of that.
Oh, okay.
Talking about, and I have not done all my
Points
points
today?
No,
Okay.
I'm late.
Dr. Anderson in his webinar today, I think we got like 25 points for watching it, and I think it's going to be up all week. It's not one of those daily things, it's a weekly thing. And he talked quite a bit about this, organizing your life around what matters most. I've heard him say that for many years, and I know that it certainly relates to food, as you said, Dixie, because we want to make sure that we have in our plan for creating health in our life, we have to clean out our kitchen. We need to get rid of the food that causes us to sin. We've got to make sure that we always keep food in our house that is healthy and nutritious. And this is where the shopping list that's listed on the challenge comes into play. That's also where those 100-calorie snacks. The only thing I hate about the 100-calorie snacks is a lot of the things they suggest to us to eat, you can't eat all of it before it goes bad. So I've got to kind of pick and choose and think about which one of those things can I get. And some of the things that they put on that list, I have to repackage them, or I'll wind up eating 500 calories instead of 100 calories. That's okay. I know that, and that's me. But it does take a focus, and it does take a plan. And so that is organizing our life around what matters most. But you're right too, Jackie, that organizing our life around what matters most is figuring out, and Lynette, what we want. It's not what somebody else wants for us. It's what we want for ourselves. I remember when I first lost my big weight, the thing, I didn't lose it for myself, but I really did kind of in a way because I didn't want to be the fattest person to walk down the aisle in my son's wedding. So that was a big why for me. I was organizing my life about what mattered most to me at that time. And then after I lost about 60 pounds or stuff, and then I put about 20 back on and kind of stayed with that for a couple of years. And then Brian had a baby. Brian and Julia had a baby. And so my focus changed. And it went from not wanting to be the fattest person to walk down the aisle at my son's wedding to being able to crawl on the jungle gyms and to squat down on the floor and roll around and play with my baby, because what would happen is if I didn't lose weight, I could get down on the floor, but I just couldn't get up. So I had to organize my choices and make my choices around what matters most. It might be spiritual, it might be food, it might be mental. Like I've got to organize myself around what matters most to me. How can I put it in a positive way? Not being lazy. How can I create a want to in my life? So all of these things are what's going to matter most. And then when we have this little bit of time, these 24 hours that we have in a day, we know we're going to have sand and pea gravel and other kinds of gravel and caliche and whatever dirt put into our jar all day. But all of that stuff can take the place of what we want if we don't put that in the jar first. And when Dr. Anderson gave me that mental image in the webinar today, it made me think, okay, so in other words, what I need to do is make my one or two things that are so big, they're like boulders, they're like stones that are in my jar. And they're so big that I don't have room for everything else to get in the way. It's going to try. All of this other stuff that's going to come in and try. My friend's telling me that, oh, let's go to the Wigglies and drink, or let's go do this, or let's have a party, or here, eat these snacks at Bridge, or this or that. I may have, some of that may trickle down, but I don't have a lot of room for that because I've got my big boulder goals in my jar for today. Does that make sense?
That's good.
That's kind of what I was seeing. So in other words, first of all, I have to identify it. What do I want? Now, I don't know about you, but that's real hard. It's hard for me because I'm so used to doing what everybody else wants. It's almost like trying to pick what I want is almost selfish. So there's a lot of stinking thinking that goes in that can get in our way when we're trying to set goals for ourselves. I'd just like for y'all to think about it. You don't have to talk about it today, but I really would like you to think about it. Is it really selfish when we set healthy goals for ourselves and when we stick to them? Okay. Dr. Anderson also asked us to ponder this question at the very end of his webinar. He said, if we just keep on doing what we're doing, where will we be in 5 years? Is that where you want to be? And I thought to myself, well, if I keep doing what I'm doing right now for 5 years, I'll still be sitting in my chair. And pretty soon, instead of being able to sit in my chair, I'm going to be laying in a bed at the damn nursing home. So maybe I need to reformulate what I'm doing now, because if I keep doing what I'm doing, that's what I'm going to be doing in 5 years. Is that really what I want? So what is it that you're doing right now? How is your day made up? How do we, what do we do to create health each day in our lives? And are we doing it? Because if we're not doing it, then it's not going to be what we are doing in 5 years. Does that make sense? In other words, we got to start practicing it now. Because if we don't start practicing it now and it doesn't become a habit to us, then where are we going to be in 5 years? Right where we are right now and worse. Because I don't know about you, but things don't seem to get better as we get older as far as health is concerned. Illness gets in the way, sickness gets in the way, family problems get in the way, emotional problems get in the way, just tired gets in the way. Running and doing things for other people gets in the way. Well, when we think about that, I think and if we're really, really honest with ourselves, maybe we should say, where are we now? Really, really focus on where we are now. What is our current reality? And ask ourselves the question, am I just surviving? Am I just surviving? Or am I thriving? I don't know about you, but I'm surviving.
I'm thriving.
And I get that from your posts. And that is why this team is so dadgum important. Because when you say things like that, it boosts the rest of us up. And I want to thank you for that, Dixie.
A year ago, I was surviving. And I had been for years and years. But I made a big change in my life, and I'm here, and my sister's got me on this, and I am thriving.
That is fabulous.
I want to do. I'm doing exactly what I want to do.
Good. And we appreciate that. And we appreciate your enthusiasm. I mean, we appreciate your guidance on it, because I'm not.
I can't do that.
What's that?
Except for I want to go to Texas, and I can't do that.
Oh. Well, you're here now because we're all together. It's just on the internet. It's a virtual togetherness, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we talked about, are we surviving or are we thriving? So here's the next thing for us to think about. Are we practicing the habits of health, or are we procrastinating?
Practicing.
Okay.
I was practicing the last 3 months. This month, I've been procrastinating, and I keep struggling. Today was good.
Good.
You know? So that's what I'm doing, is one day at a time. So yeah, but last month, even traveling, I was practicing.
Yeah, no, you were an inspiration.
And it's easy to let that something get in the way, and it's hard to figure out what that something is and how it happens. But we all know how easy that is after 5 months of doing this.
Right.
You know, it just kind of got in the way this month, and so I'm trying to get back so that July is practicing.
Good.
And going forward.
Instead of creating it, you're going to be practicing it because you know what you want.
Well, I've always said you have to fake it till you make it. So you just
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Said that for years. Yeah.
That's a great mantra. We ought to have a Zoom meeting on that sometime. That ought to be our focus. I'm going to make a note of that, and we're going to do that next month. I don't have a pen or a pencil, but I'm going to remember that. Fake it till you make it. That's awesome. So I want to leave you with just a couple of things. As we think about organizing our life around what matters most, and that jar of rocks, and surviving instead of just thriving, if we want to get where we want to get, we're going to have to create a habit. And the way we create a habit is to practice it every day. This month, I made my goal to practice 2 of the 3 areas: food, exercise, well, 4: food, exercise, water, and sleep. And I decided that I would really focus on water and sleep, because exercise and sleep, because those are the 2 that I was the worst at, the biggest procrastinator. I don't know about you, but when the challenge is, I can screw up and mess up, but I know when it's time to weigh in and I've got 5 days, I get on the 5 and 1 and I lose it, and it's so easy and I'm done, and I still do it, but I'm really not creating any healthy habits. So you see, what I'm doing is procrastinating, really. So in thinking about what I'm wanting to do for the end of this challenge, and as I think forward to the new one, because we did get our new link for next month, by the way, is what is going to be my goal to finish this challenge? What do I want to make sure that I do every day that's going to keep me on track for what matters most in my life? What do I really want to do? And I have to tell you, I've done really, really, really good in the water. So it's just the sleep and the exercise that's been hard for me. And even though I exercised today, I forgot to put my Fitbit on. And I got halfway through my walk and I went down to check how many steps I was, and it wasn't there. I mean, that's just stupid. So it's focusing on the goals that I want to do. Don't just think my healthy goals, but I need to take action steps toward realizing the goals as I'm moving on my journey to optimal health. So I think what I'm going to think about as far as my goal is I want to take action to make those habits part of my daily and maybe even hourly practice. And one of y'all, I can't remember who it was, told me that they're using, or I think you did it on one of your, maybe it was on a video, maybe it was on a Zoom meeting, or maybe it was on one of the little surveys that we do every week. But she said, the thing that I'm trying to practice every day is stop, challenge, choose. And the cool thing about stop, challenge, choose is we can apply it to everything. Donna, it's 10 o'clock. Turn off your computer. Yes, I know you're not playing games, but you're watching a movie. And that's not going to get you to bed on time. Stop. Challenge. Is this really what you want, Donna? Because in the morning, when you've stayed up till 1 o'clock watching the end of this movie, you're going to be tired tomorrow. You know, there's a pause button where you can pause that movie and pick it up tomorrow afternoon. That's one of the good things about having the internet, isn't it? Or having a DVD. So it's that kind of stinking thinking that gets in the way for me, that gets me into trouble. So my goal is not to just think about it, but to actually take the action steps necessary to help me make a healthy choice. That's part of my stop, challenge, and choose. And that's all I have to say about that, Mr. Forrest Gump. That's all I have to say about that. Does somebody else have something that you want to say about your goal for the end of this challenge and the beginning of the next one?
Nope.
No.
I think you said it. You said it. It fits us all. You know, whether we're doing well or struggling, we all have to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's to make our decisions and stick by them hourly.
Yeah. And then don't beat yourself up if you don't do it. What you do is you don't beat yourself up, you pick yourself up and you get back on track.
Yep.
Because you know what happens when we beat ourselves up?
Oh, yeah.
Our favorite drug of choice is food, right? How many of y'all, your favorite drug of choice is food?
Oh, yeah, always.
You know, so beating ourselves up is a very dangerous habit. All right, then, anybody else? I know I'm not the only one on this team that has ideas.
I just want to make my challenge on my weight loss.
Okay.
I've got 2.5 pounds to lose this week. Oh, hard.
You can do it. 2.5 pounds is nothing. Stay on plan, drink your water. You got it. You know it.
Oh, we got a new member.
Oh, look. Who is that?
Well, that's Sammy Joe. That's
Sammy Joe.
Yeah,
Is that named after your sister?
No.
I got a giggle out of her there.
Megan's got someone too.
Oh, I need to go get Coco and Bella. What kind of dog is that, Megan?
I
Oh,
don't see
you're muted. You're muted. You know what? One night we need to bring our pets on and introduce our pets. That would be fun. Oh, shit. Well, anyway, girls, it's been a great month. I'm going to meet my goal. I've had a good month. I don't know that I've really feel successful about my sleep and exercise, but I've done so much better that I'm feeling successful. And I'm making a point every day of getting out of my chair and moving. So that's a huge hurdle for me. So this week, let's do more than we did last week, which is think about our goals and think about writing them down. Let's actually think about the one thing that we're going to do to organize, the one thing that matters the most to us. And whatever that thing is, write it down so that the next time we meet, which is 2 weeks from tonight, you can tell us how you're progressing toward what matters most to you. You don't have to tell us what it is. That can be very, very private. But let us know how you're progressing toward that, what it is. In other words, between now and 2 weeks, I want you to make that identification. Really think about it. Okay, what is it that matters the most to me? And let's don't be coy about it. Let's don't be, soft about it. Let's really be prayerfully serious about it. What is it that matters most to us? Because once we identify that, we know we can have a plan to get there. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So,
Thanks, Donna.
it's a great meeting tonight. Thank you for being online, and thank you for your participation. And let's have a waltzing good night. Good night, Jeanette. Bye, Joe. Don't get too many steps.
Bye, Janet.
Good night, Dixie.
Bye, Dixie.